I look at the Forex market on daily charts for the trend, and then I look at a 4-hour chart for entries. Yesterday, I looked at a 30-minute.
90% of your time is spent being a market maker. You make markets in the assets that you trade.
Or something, right? Very hard to make each one of these. But this is the culmination of 10 years of research and development that we've done to
get a lot of accolades in this ecosystem from building my dad's liquor store from a $3 to a $60 million business. But the truth is, I stand here tonight and admit to you, not excitingly,
I look at the Forex market on daily charts for the trend, and then I look at a 4-hour chart for entries. Yesterday, I looked at a 30-minute.
Hidden beneath the surface of modern electronic exchanges lies a sophisticated fee structure designed to reward liquidity. High-frequency market makers exploit this mechanism, turning structural order execution into a systematic source of risk-free revenue. The foundation of modern market microstructure relies heavily on the maker-taker architecture, penalizing liquidity takers while offering rebates to passive makers. This environment requires high-frequency desks to focus strictly on precision timing to secure fractional profits.
I look at the Forex market on daily charts for the trend, and then I look at a 4-hour chart for entries. Yesterday, I looked at a 30-minute chart because I had the time to focus on the 30-minute chart. I haven't got that today. You're trading technically alone in the Forex market, and there's a lot of news around. It drives it one way and the other way, and your hit rate suffers.
At this level, minuscule variances in queue priority define structural profitability. Automated parameters are constantly recalibrated to optimize order fills while mitigating inventory decay. High-frequency desks evaluate operational success not only by capturing wide spreads, but by optimizing their maximum rebate retention rate. This deliberate strategy provides a significant edge over firms competing in crowded exchange matching engines.
90% of your time is spent being a market maker. You make markets in the assets that you trade to clients. 10% of your time is spent as a proprietary trader, so using the bank's money to make money. And it's called proprietary trading because it's really everything that the trader does that's proprietary to doing business with.
Collecting minor rebates through passive limit orders offers a highly insulated risk profile, assuming the algorithm successfully evades adverse selection. Algorithmic systems continuously synchronize their strategies across multiple lit and dark venues to exploit subtle discrepancies in exchange fee models.
Created our first market-making bot market-making service. Because when we list the token of Rega on exchanges, we figure out that liquidity is too bad, that it's a lot of arbitrage opportunities existed on the market, and that's why me and my friend from university and from school, we were very deep.
Capitalizing on structural fee variance allows high-frequency firms to extract consistent margins while ensuring fragmented markets remain price-aligned. Successfully harvesting maker rebates requires low-latency infrastructure capable of evading toxic order flow from highly informed institutional participants.
Of my career, I sat and I watched you trade. I must have watched 100 million trades go over the tape in the 10 years that I sat on a trading floor, whilst I was managing and hedging positions, depending on which direction you saw the market go up or down. And it does provide you with a rather unique insight to watch 50,000 people trade over a decade.
Navigating toxic flow demands advanced real-time monitoring. Algorithms must instantly cancel passive positions before aggressive institutional waves override the book. Automated trading systems constantly analyze structural market cycles, shifting their smart routing paths to dodge heavy execution slippage during massive volatility spikes.
And cyclical factors, we have started a new bull market, and in my opinion, whatever happened in the last 9 to 12 months is more a cyclical or a corrective phase rather than bear markets starting. So if one has to have that view, then it was only going to be a matter of time before we resume the uptrend again. And I think we have pretty much started on that uptrend is what I feel.
When structural trends shift, matching engines experience massive imbalances. Algorithmic desks must immediately adjust quote density to shield inventory from sudden directional swings. Electronic execution is a relentless battle for optimal queue priority, where passive limit orders are continuously adjusted to combat execution friction.
Monetize that skill set very well, but sales is a way to have better relationships, better friendships, the way that you talk to yourself in your own mind. Like you can roll your own objections that tell you, I'm not good enough, I don't deserve this, to make you really believe that you do deserve a better life in every single aspect. So sales to me is freedom, because I full-heartedly believe that if you teach anybody, and specifically a woman's sales,
managing high cancellation and replacement rates is the true secret to rebate harvesting. Execution algorithms continuously manipulate order placement until realization is achieved. As electronic matching engines become faster, proprietary trading firms must continuously optimize their hardware stack to maintain queue superiority over rivals.
Something, right? Very hard to make each one of these. But this is the culmination of 10 years of research and development that we've done to basically miniaturize all the computing that you need to have glasses, not a headset, but glasses that can put full holograms into the world with a wide field of view. So you can imagine sort of in the future, we'd be having a version of this conversation where, maybe I or you are not even here. It's like
reducing system latency to sub-microsecond levels is no longer an option, it is a mandatory structural requirement. This specialized infrastructure guarantees dominance over the order book. Quantitative market makers deploy vast pools of capital with high conviction, leveraging lightning-fast hardware to capture rebates while retail traders remain completely frozen.
Sort of the courage of your convictions. You had to have the willingness to do something when everybody else was petrified. But that was true in 1974 when we were buying stocks at very, very, very low multiples of earnings. It wasn't that anybody didn't know that they were cheap. They were just paralyzed for one reason or another. That the lesson of following logic rather than emotion.
When order books experience chaotic shifts, human operators hesitate. Automated market makers thrive in this chaos, capturing both wider spreads and elevated rebate volumes. Generating consistent structural revenue requires analyzing order books as multiplayer environments where each participant operates under different fee schedules and constraints.
A lot of people
decoding the precise intent of competing execution algorithms enables a market maker to dictate terms inside the matching engine. The transition from vocal open outcry to automated matching systems has completely transformed how modern market spreads are calculated and managed.
At Starbucks when I was like 16 or 17 years old. I was in high school, and back then they had this like employee share option, and so that was my very first introduction to like what is a share of a company.
Wow, I love that story, and what a cool way to get something of value that you didn't even really know was valuable maybe until now.
Managing automated operations at institutional scale mirrors a high-volume exchange desk, extracting fractional margins while completely neutralizing directional market exposure. Quantitative trading systems exploit native execution channels inside matching engines, bypassing standard user friction to secure direct access to favorable fee matrices.
And must have been like 10, 11 years old, and I would just stay up late with him and watch him play. So I was just so fascinated. And I even remember, we went on a vacation, Ocean City, Maryland, and I was reading like Super System. I was only like 12, 13 at the time. So, I always had that love for poker. So, unfortunately I was like a little bit younger.
Migrating execution logic away from human-facing interfaces into pure algorithmic environments allows trading desks to execute complex, high-velocity mathematical operations. Specialized standalone market makers command dominant volume shares inside highly optimized electronic liquidity pools by leveraging strong architectural network effects.
And the company has ensured its reach is wide and extensive with almost 830 plus branch offices, 700 plus sales manager stations. We also have tie-up with 14,000 plus hospitals and diagnostic centers. We have 6,500 plus sales managers, which look after 6 lakhs plus agents.
Ultra-low latency standalone entities easily outpace traditional legacy brokers because their technical framework is deeply integrated into the exchange core. The continuous loop of order submissions and rapid cancellations shapes deep microcircuitable trends, maximizing matching engine efficiency through automated execution cycles.
That hard work repeated over time consistently can build you a really big fjord. But I came today to talk about bike racing in Italy. Now here's a video, actual footage of a guy losing a bike race. And when he discovers that doing the same thing over and over again isn't really the best method.
This high-frequency repetition represents pure engineering genius, isolating structural inefficiencies and optimizing queue completion metrics automatically. State-of-the-art machine learning models continuously refine order placement, accurately predicting fill probabilities during heavy bursts of toxic taker volume.
Dependent on the artificial intelligence while you are searching for the problem. So generally it is difficult to identify the solution. So in this generation, by the usage of artificial intelligence, we are easy to identify the solution. So you are the students, now you are feeling difficult to identify the perfect solution of the problem. So you are going to an artificial intelligence ask, you can minimize this problem to give some correct solutions.
Operating with robust probability models is vital. Automated systems rapidly identify technical patterns and execute order adjustments without human delay. Quantitative market makers hold a decisive structural edge over retail participants by utilizing direct collocation connections to harvest maker rebates at the source.
I get a lot of accolades in this ecosystem from building my dad's liquor store from a $3 to a $60 million business, but the truth is I stand here tonight and admit to you, not excitingly, that it should have been $150 million. Because if I actually understood how unbelievable the arbitrage was on Google AdWords, I would have spent a lot more money on it and grew my business much more.
High-frequency desks easily identify the footprints of retail order routing, front-running queue structures to capture risk-free maker-taker spreads. Historical structural disruptions reveal that during major geopolitical events, exchange liquidity regimes break down, forcing quants to immediately restructure their routing tools.
A high-ranking Soviet Army officer. He was educated in the elite schools inside the Soviet Union and became an expert in Indian culture and Indian languages. He had an outstanding career with Novosti, which was and still is, I should say, the press arm or the press agency of the Soviet Union. It turns out that this is also a front for the KGB.
Sudden structural transformations in exchange mechanics require immediate recalibration, completely altering the operational risk profile of automated smart routing systems. The widespread integration of algorithmic matching networks represents an industrial revolution in finance, forcing legacy firms to fully overhaul their manual execution processes.
Word documents. And now PowerPoint decks have gone from 6 slides to 50 slides. And I say that as a consultant. Also, we engage in much more complex decision-making because the amount of data that we have to process has just exploded. And why is that important today? Well, generative AI is coming, and is coming to be embedded in the core of our organizations and the way we work.
This technological shift changes the entire nature of market structure, where ultra-fast data pipelines have completely replaced manual human decisions in the order book. The exact sequence of order routing must be mathematically perfect to ensure passive quotes fill cleanly without getting picked off by latency arbitrageurs.
You've got the experts in the world that are going to do this. You look for a team that can tell a story, a CEO that can tell a story, because at the end of the day, like venture capitalists, we want bigger outcomes. And everything about venture is, I always say 2 things, like more stars will die in ingestion and starvation. Do too many things concurrently, you will fail.
Flawless transcational sequencing is mandatory because building advanced statistical models is useless without a rock-solid, low-latency execution layer. Cultivating an execution culture centered around speed is absolutely mandatory when managing massive, complex quantitative portfolios within microcell time horizons.
We worked together for several years. In fact, I had the privilege of reporting directly to Bob for about 7 months during a business transition, and I can say it was an absolute privilege that I can think of in my career. Bob has impacted the next generation of exchange leaders in a very measurable way.
Maintaining strict operational discipline and microcell precision is the baseline requirement for navigating highly congested institutional order flows. When international exchanges deploy updated matching engines, they must format their architecture to seamlessly integrate with the low latency systems used by global market makers.
We actually do more of the revenue from outside of Canada than inside now. And that has been a deliberate strategy over a number of years. But it's not about just growing the pie outside, it's actually about growing the connectivity back to Canada in terms of what's the core of what we're trying to do every day.
The most impactful structural investments occur behind the scenes, ensuring that massive matching engines remain highly efficient and competitive. Sudden volatility regimes can instantly derail basic pricing formulas, forcing quantitative market makers to widen spreads significantly to withstand temporary liquidity shocks.
Supported 31.5 million people and 2.5 million firms, and further 9 million people and 800,000 firms in 2021. At the same time, member states that use SURE saved at an estimated 8.5 billion euro in interest payments, which they could use to invest.
During periods of high systemic stress, quants rely entirely on strict risk parameters to protect their core inventory from rapid capital depreciation. Quantitative execution desks must maintain absolute clarity regarding their core competencies, emphasizing queue stability and latency management to remain competitive.
And caring if it's going to retain its relevance and vitality. And the Apple brand has clearly suffered.
Retaining a reliable, high-speed execution footprint is critical for any firm aiming to capture structural margins across fragmented global venues. The structural reputation of a premier exchange dictates how institutional participants perceive its overall order book depth and rebate stability.
These cognitive biases and psychological triggers are important for you to know, so you can arm yourself against unethical and unscrupulous marketers trying to sell you things you just don't need. But I must say, these principles, these psychological triggers, and these cognitive biases are so powerful that even when you know they're actively being used against you, you still can't stop them. Like some kind of weird marketing magnet that just draws you in and takes all your money.
A highly efficient first execution experience secures immediate participant trust, fostering long-term volume loyalty to that specific venue. Traditional financial models collapse in high-frequency environments, which demand highly dynamic, continuous time calculations to adjust to changing spreads.
To get more clients, grow your business, and sell more of your services, there are 3 things that you need to know. First, you need to use finish line language. Get this wrong and it doesn't matter how great your services are, how much you care, or how smart and funny and creative any of your sales or marketing materials are, they're just not going to work. Don't worry if you've never heard of this before. I'm going to walk you through exactly what it means and how to use it in just a minute.
Focusing exclusively on order completion rates and final execution metrics represents the ultimate path toward capturing fractional microcircuitable margins. By mapping out the internal architecture of the maker-taker fee model, it becomes clear that elite trading is entirely a game of structural execution plumbing.